Hello everybody and welcome to another writing and editing vlog. Every time I start one of these vlogs I have the intention of doing one thing and I end up doing another, so I think I'm just going to do myself a favour and call it a writing and editing vlog because it's going to be that kind of day. So in my 11th behind the scenes writing vlog, I mentioned that I had created the 4th draft checklist and it was in 3 parts. The first part was obtaining to the things that were purely in the first 3 chapters. There were notes that were really just about how I opened the novel, and I'm not going to incorporate these particular notes through the rest of the novel because that's just not going to make sense. Also in that same vlog, I went through and I highlighted all of the things in the 3rd part of that checklist, which was purely stuff where I needed to do a find and replace and pay attention to these particular sentences that contained words or phrases and rewrite them. So I went through and I highlighted all of those. At this stage I'm just highlighting stuff in Scrivener because I attempted to do all of this in Microsoft Word and it was just so difficult, and it's because can't teach an old dog new tricks. I am, in the spirit of honesty, I am 38 and I've been writing since I was 30, so I'm used to writing in a certain way. Although I did start out writing in Microsoft Word, I've been using Scrivener since 2014, so it's been 5 years now, and it's hard to go back and do it the way I used to do it. It's just hard. It sucks. But anyway, I digress. Today and in the rest of this vlog, I want to go through the 2nd part of that checklist, which is really notes that refer to, I guess, the little writing quirks that I have that need to change, and things like the overuse of the word said as a dialogue tag. And sometimes it isn't important to point out who's talking because it's kind of obvious who's talking. And in those moments, I probably need to delete the he said, she said tag and stuff like that. And just moments where I've made things really unclear, like a phone buzzing in the background. It's like, why is it buzzing? Is there a text message? Does he have his phone on silent? Is it ringing? Like stuff like that that's just not particularly clear. And I have to go through and look for these moments and rewrite those sentences. It probably will be, again, a sentence by sentence edit, but I need to go through and highlight these, and then it's just going to be so much easier for me to go through the manuscript and just change stuff. I will be able to work in crazy blocks of time and just purely work on this, but I have to get this done today, and I've been putting this off for a number of different reasons, really. The first being this year's been quite, these last 12 months have been quite difficult. This time last year my auntie passed away and I've just been really unhappy. Sounds like a really crappy word, because I think expecting to be happy all the time it's super unrealistic. But I also don't want to throw around the word depression either, because I've had that and that sucks. And it's more than just feeling down. Like it's this constant, it's like having a constant black cloud like over your head, and you're just feeling just an overall mood isn't the wrong word. It's so hard to describe, really. But it's not quite that. It's not there yet, but there are just things in my life I've been really dissatisfied with, and it's to the point where it was making me really unhappy. There's that word again. It's been making me feel a little down and perhaps sad about these things that aren't going quite right. I have this way of sort of pushing my feelings to the side and distracting myself, and then eventually I'll get to a place where I need to talk about it, and that's actually quite unhealthy. And the month of August I've really had a lot of these things come up, and I also had to deal with how I felt about the fact that it's been a year since, you know, my father's sister hasn't been with us, and it's hard because I'm not the type of person, I don't like to remember the anniversary of when someone passed away, because it's, to me, it's just, I feel this overwhelming sense of sadness, but at the same time, I prefer to remember what it was like having them in my life, and I prefer to remember their birthdays and sort of think about someone then, as opposed to focusing on loss. But because I've just pushed those feelings to the side this month, I've had to deal with that. So I haven't made as much progress this month purely because I've had to stop pretending I'm an android and actually deal with my emotions and how I'm feeling with that. And I've noticed that things like this, it doesn't put a blockage in my creativity. I sort of can't function. Like I can do like the everyday tasks, I can help other people, but I find it difficult to work through these type of feelings and then work on my own projects. Because a lot of like working with clients, it's quite analytical for me. I'm very good at doing that, but anything creative that's requiring creativity, because although editing is quite analytical, you also have to then go through and actually make the changes, and that's quite creative, and I find it difficult to do all of those things. So this is where I've been at in this month. I will do a get ready with me writing chat, but I don't want to make that video all about that, because although it's an important issue to talk about, struggling to write while you're going through life events that aren't particularly pleasant, well, that's important. I didn't want to, the second episode, which I haven't filmed yet, I don't want to make that all about that, because I guess my feelings about it are still quite raw, and I just don't want to cry on camera. It's not really my style. And I don't feel comfortable with it either. Maybe that's more what it is. I don't feel comfortable. So that's where I'm at in my life. Yes, so today I want to go through my crime thriller novella, Missing in Scrivener. The way that I'm going to do this is, first of all, I'm lazy. You know that. But I'm lazy in the sense that I've developed this really terrible habit of procrastinating. And procrastination is a habit. It's this habit of putting something off. It's this habit of giving in to how you feel, or insecurities, and other things like that. And whatever your reason is for putting it off, whether it's like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, or whether it's like you're feeling insecure or undecided or really weary of doing something for whatever reasons, and you put it off until another day, and that's a habit. I have that habit, and it's so bad. It's part of the reason why it's taken me so long to publish my first 3 novels. But in a way, I'm glad it's taken me this long, because I've learned so much through this process, because I've had so much time to work on them. The way I want to go through this second part of this checklist is I'm going to open my crime thriller novella Missing in Scrivener, and I'm going to get the computer to read it back to me. And as I find these moments in the story, I will highlight them as they go along. It just means I'm going to have to stop and start chapters, and it also means that I will be probably listening to a scene over and over again until I'm tired of hearing my own work. I know I'm going to have this moment, and I sort of feel like it's going to happen soon, but I have a tight deadline I've set for myself, and I need to get this done. So let's get into the editing. I've almost finished for the day, because I know, well, maybe I've got about an hour left until Roland gets home. So when he gets home, I like to stop working and spend time with him. So I've got about an hour left, And basically what I've done is I did spend a bit of time making amendments to my list, and I've realized there are a couple of things that I need to go through and do as like a final pass before I send this back to my editor. After that, I then went through the manuscript and I added notes for all the scenes up until the end of the first act. So I should definitely get the first act done with all of the notes today. And I think tomorrow, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start, I'm tempted tomorrow just to start the edits, even though I haven't finished putting all the notes in. But in saying this, after I finish that, I'm going to have the same problem as I'm doing now. So I'm in two minds. There's a part of me that really wants to get started, and then there's the other part of me that sort of sees the benefit in continuing adding these notes into the manuscript and then going through and doing all of the edits all at once. I'll sort of sleep on that and make a decision as to what I do with that tomorrow morning. So I'm going to get back to the editing and I'll see you tomorrow. So yesterday I got almost 3 hours of editing done and I'm super happy. I even got as far as the end of the first scene in the second act and I'm pretty happy with that progress. But today it's been one of those days where I just spent the last hour and 45 minutes trying to... So I have a Kenwood smoothie to go machine and I like to have a protein smoothie with vegetables and fruit with obviously protein powder for lunch because it's nice, it's because it's hot. But today it got stuck, the jug actually got stuck on the motor and I can't get it off, to the point where I've been trying and I've torn like my hand. Basically I've torn my finger apart, which is perfect really. I'll show you. So here's the fridge. This is ridiculous. But oops. Yeah, so it's that. The reason why I've got it in the fridge is Roland said it would help it cool down and disconnect, and it hasn't. I don't know what to do with it anymore, so I've just left it in there so when he comes home he can deal with that. So it turns out I'm not having lunch today. I'm not too thrilled about that. It's almost 5 p.m. and I really need to start writing because I'm super frustrated because of that event. I'm going to start with the lowest hanging fruit and go through and just add in the notes that I know are going to be super easy, and then work my way into the more complicated and potentially frustrating parts of the editing process. So I still have to go through Act 2 and 3, but I'm quite impressed I got Act 1 done yesterday, apart from the first 3 chapters which are already done. So yay! So let's get into the editing. So I've just changed locations because I sort of feel like I need to be somewhere different and I don't want to be in my office, and the table is starting to get super hot and there's a lot of light coming through the windows because there's 3 windows near the kitchen tables. I've decided to move to the couch and I thought I'd give you a quick update. I'm at chapter 15 in Missing and I'm just going through highlighting things that I need to change. I'm looking at the checklist and I'm going through each scene and I'm looking for these things on the checklist that I'll need to change. So if that makes sense. So I'm at chapter 15 and I've sort of got 5 more chapters and some of these chapters are scene heavy. So I've got 9 more scenes until I get to the midpoint of my story, which is the first half of the second act. And because I've only got 2 hours left, I don't think I'm going to get all of Act 2 done today, obviously, because it's taking so much longer than what I thought it would. I'm going to see how I like the couch. I'm going to try and edit a few scenes from here, and if I don't like it, I'm obviously going to have to move into my office. We'll see how it goes, but I'm hoping I'll at least get to the end of the first half of the second act. My story. Fingers crossed. So I'm back in my office. The writing on the couch didn't actually last too long. So I actually got a little bit further along than what I first thought. I've actually reached the second chapter in the second half of the second act. I know it's not a huge amount of time, but I've still got a little bit of time left before Roland arrives home. So I think I'm just going to keep working until he literally walks through the front door and save it. So I'm going to end this vlog here, but I'm super happy about the progress I've made this week. So between Thursday and today, I've done like 6 hours worth of editing, and I'm considering keeping on doing this because I don't want to slip back into my old habits. And I'm not doing this first thing in the morning. I'm waiting till a certain time in the day and then I'm starting. Things seem to be working well for me at the moment. There's a part of me that thinks maybe I shouldn't disturb the status quo that I've already created. So anyway, thank you for watching. If you love writing vlogs just like this, then hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, then hit the subscribe button, and if you want to be notified about more videos just like this, including tech tutorials, my podcast and writing tips, and sometimes book hauls because I've got a problem, then hit the bell icon. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next vlog. Bye!